With 2021 the year of the delay that pushed everything onto 2022, giving us one of the most promising stacks of titles in quite some time. 2022 should see the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series systems really start to show what they can do. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 upcoming PS5 and Xbox Series X games that will blow you away. Number 10, Black Myth: Wukong. A game that immediately got substantial word of mouth from its first reveal, Black Myth: Wukong is being developed on Unreal Engine 5 by a tiny team and is largely inspired by Chinese tale Journey to the West. We've seen a Western take on that with Ninja Theory's Enslaved Odyssey to the West, but here the big takeaway is all-out graphical fidelity and what looks to be a super tight combat system. With acrobatic moves and trade-offs against bosses backed by supremely cool environmental effects like blades carving through snow and kicking up debris all around, Black Myth getting 2 million views on its first showing overnight is only the beginning. Number 9, Senua Saga: Hellblade 2. The rest of the generation is a huge deal for Xbox, and after spending millions acquiring various studios like Bethesda and here Ninja Theory, they need their first-party portfolio to start truly turning heads. Thankfully, everything about Hellblade 2 is shaping up nicely indeed. Senua's revamped facial animations were used to demonstrate in-engine rendering on Series X back when the system was first revealed, and the Game Awards 2021 showcased a notably atmospheric, almost emotional boss battle against a giant. It's clear the cash injection from Xbox has paid dividends, with Hellblade's world and mythos being fleshed out considerably. Facial work is almost photorealistic, and actor Melina Juergens continues to knock it out the park, learning various combat styles herself and embodying Senua's fierce expanded moveset in some behind-the-scenes documentaries. With original game Senua's Sacrifice tackling serious mental health issues head-on, and Juergens' passion for the role shining through, this feels like it'll sweep the Game Awards in whatever year it drops at some point in the future. Number 8, Forspoken. Now, I will give you that a lot of Forspoken's cutscene dialogue hasn't been the best received so far, but the gameplay side of things is looking sharp as hell. Playing as Frey, a New Yorker dropped into the mysterious world of Athea, you can move at an incredible pace, leap extremely high into the air, and dive into a combat system reliant on specific spells and acrobatics. It looks fast and fluid, taking that initial Project Athea demo and fleshing it out considerably. Forspoken also comes from a wing of the team who brought us the mighty Final Fantasy XV. Being a new IP from Square Enix with a huge budget thrown into every facet of production, this needs to succeed where the likes of the Avengers, Balan Wonderworld, and The Quiet Man totally bombed. Number 7, Elden Ring. Years in the making, it's hard to believe we'll finally get our hands on Elden Ring February 25th. A collaboration by Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin and From Software, developers of some of the best games in history including Dark Souls and Bloodborne, Elden Ring is truly one of the most exciting upcoming games out there. Everything about Elden Ring looks like an evolution of the highly popular Souls formula. It looks to include the same tight risk versus reward combat that we're all used to, but for the first time ever that's applied to a full open world. Peppering the land with mini-bosses and hidden gear, plus a custom order to how you tackle each area's main enemy, we've got mounted combat, optional dungeons to explore, and dedicated classic legacy dungeons too. The run from Soft R on is rockstar in the 2000s level, and from the Souls trilogy to Bloodborne into Sekiro, there's no reason to doubt this won't be another total knockout. Number 6, Starfield. Despite the fact it's due out in November, we know very little about what is now the Xbox game of the generation. Because while Starfield has been in development for years before Xbox's acquisition of Bethesda, the game is now console exclusive, very much needing to be infinitely more polished than anything the team have released in over a decade, if not ever. Speaking of which, this is Bethesda's first new IP in 25 years, and has been described by studio head Todd Howard as basically Skyrim in space. Clearly they're waiting to showcase full gameplay near release, but early buzz describes multiple explorable planets and spacecraft customization, with huge amounts of quests, gear, and creatures to hunt down. Simply put, few studios genuinely impress at world building and immersion than Bethesda when they're firing on all cylinders, and giving Xbox need a first-party win that's top to bottom stellar, it should be this. Number 5, Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok. Putting these together because they largely feel like they're in the same space. Top tier AAA PlayStation exclusives that we're all default looking forward to that do feel a little bit muted thanks to Sony's dithering approach to current gen development. Where Microsoft low-key discontinued all Xbox One models by the close of 2021 to push for Series XS development going forward, Sony have only confirmed former PlayStation 5 exclusives on PS4, announcing they'll actually be making 1 million more PlayStation 4s across 2022. Obviously that's awesome that more people get to experience very promising games, but in terms of next-gen tech showcases and the ability to blow you away, it means that both of these sit halfway in my list. Still, the PS5 will be the best place to play both games. Aloy will continue looking into what Lance Reddick's Silence is doing with the Hades AI governing the world of Horizon's creatures, and Kratos looks to be clashing with an older Atreus, hating the fact his dad is trying to curb those brutally violent Spartan warrior tendencies that were the backbone of Part 1. DualSense functionality, smoother frame rates, higher resolutions, more background detail, etc. is the order of the day. And as a 1-2 platform exclusive combo, it's still pretty incredible. Number 4, The Matrix Awakens. Yes, this is already out, but bear with me. Because if you've got a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X and were wondering when the next generation was going to arrive, well, go get a taste right now. Made in collaboration with The Matrix Resurrections, Awakens was designed to be an early indicator of what Unreal Engine 5 can do, and how it makes for a very exciting future across gaming. If you've tried it, you'll no doubt have been blown away as the game presents lifelike character models and a photorealistic cityscape to explore. Honestly, it looked phenomenal, and within minutes of people playing, we seem to collectively remember how full of potential the Matrix IP is for video games, and how enjoyable the likes of Enter the Matrix and Path of Neo were back in the 2000s. Responding directly to that hype then, several mentions of additional content have come from one of Awaken's creators, Kim Library, saying that players will be able to do more like maybe fly or fight. Even if we do stay in free tech demo territory going forward, seeing an increasingly fleshed out Matrix experience can only lead to more buzz and hopefully publisher investment. Sure, Resurrection split the room, but Matrix in game form was always a crowd pleaser. Number 3, Respawn's new first-person shooter franchise. As the years rolled out and we watched Respawn go from literally the best shooter people didn't play, Titanfall 2, through to Apex Legends and Jedi Fallen Order in the same year, to the coolest Medal of Honor game since the original in VR, now mention of a new IP is a major cause for celebration. Yes, I want Titanfall 3 as much as the next person, but knowing this team can prioritize full creative freedom is more than fine too. We know Respawn's game exists from prominent leaker Jeff Grubb, and that it's a single-player FPS focusing on mobility and style rendered across Unreal Engine 5 that will aim for a 2024 to 2025 release date. Between now and then, we've got Jedi Fallen Order's sequel too, but it simply must be said that when a creative studio are allowed to access EA's wallet without their interference, they can truly prosper. Respawn, don't miss. Number 2, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Yep, it's been 7 years since Rocksteady's last game, Batman Arkham Knight. The intervening years have pointed to various projects greenlit and scrapped across the likes of Warner Bros. And WB Montreal as the DC superhero film universe came in and out of view. Rocksteady, though, have apparently worked on this the whole time. Looking incredibly polished, fast and fluid with a great deal of already standout character work, Suicide Squad looks like a very different game from Rocksteady's Batman trilogy, almost having a Sunset Overdrive feel in its traversal while you tackle scores of enemies and some maniacal turncoat villains. There are still a ton of questions to be answered, such as how all these multiple playable characters factor in, if there's online multiplayer, and whether we'll be able to, kill the Justice League. Honestly though, it's just great to have Rocksteady back. And number 1, Avowed. Shooting to the top spot because damn it, Obsidian have always been an exemplary studio, dealt a series of bad hands by unruly publisher demands, ruining the full scope of what they're capable of. We had Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic being crunched into a 16-month turnaround by LucasArts, Fallout New Vegas boxed into a barely workable 18-month crunch from Bethesda, one that led to 0 bonuses or royalties because it scored an 84 on Metacritic instead of an 85. Ambitious spy RPG Alpha Protocol was hampered by Sega wanting staff to help make Aliens Crucible instead, only for that to be cancelled, and Ubisoft made the sequel to South Park The Stick of Truth themselves, likely because it was cheaper to do so in-house. Point being, Obsidian have always been a studio with incredible game ideas cut off from their potential because of various outside factors. Now though, and following Outer Worlds showing what a more comfortable team can easily nail, Xbox's acquisition feels like Obsidian have the money, time, and resources to make their first truly perfect video game. Little has been shown, but leaks point to a Skyrim adjacent RPG, where loadouts are emphasized and two-handed spellcasting is a major feature, letting you spec towards certain elements and attacks that another player wouldn't even have access to. Obsidian are always referred to as second to Bethesda, when in the likes of Fallout New Vegas they arguably outdid them. With both teams now under the Xbox banner and a plan to push quality above all else, I just can't wait to see what they have in store. And those are our picks for games that will blow you away in the future of gaming. Let me know your favorites down in the comments below, and please subscribe to the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast. For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com, and I'll catch you soon.